our second part of the show, which of course is the patch notes. I want to throw it off to Frank here. Tell me about.
Yeah, we have a lot of notes here for our first article. So we're just going to take it straight in there. So our first article, it comes from Tom Warren from The Verge. Microsoft to acquire Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. So guys, in a move nobody saw coming this week, Microsoft announced that they have come to a deal to acquire Activision Blizzard for a whopping $68.7 billion. This is likely to shake up the industry as Xbox now owns franchises such as Call of Duty, Overwatch, World of Warcraft, and Crash Bandicoot. The reception to the news is polarizing and shows that the gaming industry really is beginning to change drastically. I know I have a lot of notes here. Every single piece of note here is basically kind of in order of when it happened. But just for right now, what do you guys think of, like, what was your first reaction to this? Because I know when I woke up, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, excuse me? Like, this is insane.
I think my only reaction was, oh my God.
Yeah. Huge ass number.
That's all. That's all the thoughts.
I saw this when I woke up from work, and then I looked at Twitter and people were talking about it. Because I think it broke at like 6 a.m. Pacific time, and I sat there in disbelief. I was like, "Oh my God!" I did not expect Activision Blizzard of all companies to get bought out for that much. I didn't know they were worth that much. For one.
Yeah, I think we expected them to get bought out, right? Because we were talking about it, just like at some point they're going to die a little bit and they were going to get bought out.
I did not think it'd be to this degree.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be this soon. That's
where I'm like, a company like Blizzard or a company like Microsoft.
I was expecting, Overwatch and Diablo 4 to be out by the time they were like, okay, yeah, we're going to have to sell. But yeah, I was not expecting. Honestly, and Harv and Fee, remind me if this happened. I woke up and was like, saw the news and was like, this is a dream. I'm still in a dream. This is not real. Yeah. And so I went in, go ahead. And I jumped in the Discord. I was like, am I high? Or
So Sophie and I we're in Discord, and then Mario comes in and he's like, I don't know if you guys have like, I don't know if I'm high or like what is happening right now, but like Activision Blizzard just got bought. Is that correct? Did that actually happen?
Am I reading this right?
Yes. Yeah, it's like, Mario, yeah, that did happen. That's what we've been talking about all day today.
We're all joint hallucinating.
It's weird because like
the only real answer.
It hit me that time. I was like, has Mario not looked at Twitter all fucking day?
No, I didn't.
That's surprising.
Yeah, no, that's what I was surprised at.
I took my
medicine. More surprising than the acquisition.
Oh yeah, I had a late start that day, and boy.
Mario was giving me crap for not replying to his message, but just so you know, I have 25 unopened texts from the past 2 days.
Jesus,
so it's not just you I'm not getting back to.
Jesus,
why?
But the other funny thing about this is that Mario had that reaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Frank had the same reaction when
because you woke up later.
Discord. Yeah. And he's just like, what the fuck? Activision Blizzard just got bought by Microsoft?
Yeah. I woke up.
And I were like, yes.
I woke up to like
Twitter.
I woke up to like 5 text messages. And I'm just like, people just like, yo, Activision got bought by Microsoft. Like, I'm just like, the fuck? Excuse me? Like, and I got on, I verified it, and I got into Discord. And I was just like, did Activision really just get bought by Microsoft? I still couldn't believe it. Even after I like looked up articles and stuff like that, I'm just like, no fucking way.
Yeah, I think what's even more funny is Mario came into the Discord, was talking to us, left the Discord, came back, and he's like, wait a second, did Microsoft buy Activision Blizzard? And we're like, yes, Mario. Like, we had a full discussion with you beforehand. So it wasn't just like...
Oh, he came back and he still didn't know?
Apparently, he just didn't go on Twitter, and we didn't mention it because we were talking about something else. And so then Mario comes back, he's like, wait a second, whoa. And so that was just like, oh my God. No, that was the... Well, at least what Harv and I got to watch throughout the day was you two reacting, which was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think about this thing, Faye? Like, what did you like? I know
Oh, no,
World of
here we go.
Warcraft was a part of your life. I like everybody, for the most part here, has a piece of the Activision, the thing. Whether you're Mario with Tony Hawk, because I think that's the only game you've probably really actually liked out of Activision.
Crash Spyro.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero.
Harv and me like Call of Duty. Yeah, I like Call of Duty.
And Diablo.
And Diablo. I love Diablo too as well. And Sly, I don't know if you've ever had any good gameplay stuff with Activision. I don't know if that's your cup of tea. But I know Fee.
Not really.
Yeah. Fee, I know World of Warcraft was a big part of your life for a decent amount of time. So how did you feel when you saw this?
So I just want to preface this starting off by saying, one, I appreciate Phil Spencer for the way that his output, oh my goodness, his output on the entire thing, which is bringing games to everyone. That has been his kind of preface over the past year, which is a little bit refreshing. And I was having this conversation with Mario beforehand. It's definitely refreshing to see someone like try to bring like these titles to everyone. It's always been, at least for the last even just 2 decades, where people have just been like, I'm a PC gamer, I'm like an Xbox gamer, I'm a, like PlayStation, but he wants to have people playing on the PC. He wants them to play cloud gaming. So I really appreciate that. I also appreciate the people who work at Activision Blizzard who aren't complete tool bags. My frustration is the people who are the tool bags who are currently the face of these lawsuits, which is what is irritating the shit out of me, because a lot of these people who originally are currently facing these lawsuits are going to get huge either like send-offs, like because they're not needed anymore, but they're going to get huge amounts of money at this point, because obviously this is a huge like buyout. So the best way to like the way that I'm looking at it right now, because of the way things are going, that Activision Blizzard is like a lemon. It is a lemon car that looks really good on the outside, that has all the bells and whistles. Everyone like thinks it's a really great car, but then when you open it up, you realize that it's decaying and it's not, like, it's full of rust, because there's so many things that need to be fixed with Activision Blizzard at this point. There's so many things going wrong for it that it's going to take a lot from Microsoft to be able to make rights from it. And I appreciate things that we'll get into, like the tweet that he has about their relationship with PlayStation and some of the exclusives on other platforms. But it's not that I saw red when I saw the acquisition. It was more in the lines of, now there's just a bunch of terrible people about to get a bunch of money, and that's what's currently making my blood boil. Because we saw a lot of this last year. It came out with the lawsuits. There was a lot of executives and a lot of higher up people at Activision Blizzard who knew what was happening, and now those people are getting cash. They are getting large amounts of money. And seeing some of the actual meetings that have happened since the acquisition has been posted are not looking good for some of the employees at Blizzard. So, or at least they're kind of leaving them in the dark, which is not making things even easier. So it's a little bit, that's my concern. I think the people who work on the games that are like, who put in their life and dedication, because a lot of these people have been working there for decades, or this was their dream to work at a big company like Blizzard. I know people who wanted to work at Blizzard and who do work at like those places, that have seen some positive things and seen some negative and not so great things whatsoever. So it's just, I don't know. It's definitely mixed feelings. I'm not going to go back to World of Warcraft by any stretch, or play any of the other Blizzard Activision games, because I'm still sticking to my guns that I just do not want to touch them with a 10-foot pole. But
I think I definitely had a very similar reaction of just like, yeah, this is big. And then I thought about it. I was just like, wait, these people are getting golden umbrellas. Like Bobby Kotick and all those people who are, then the other CEOs and stuff like that, the people on the board who are now getting bought out, they have their way out of just like, yeah, no, we got Microsoft money now. We can just kind of dip, and hopefully all this stuff will kind of go away.
Ultimately,
I hope it doesn't. I hope the gaming industry for once because the gaming industry likes to latch onto something and then just kind of forget it happens once a new game comes out or something like that. I don't really appreciate that out of the industry, but like I really do hope this one sticks, man. I really do hope these people are held accountable for what they've done to people and the lives they've ruined. And even if they have a golden umbrella, I hope most of that money is spent paying up lawyer fees so they can get fucked. I don't know. It's a shitty situation, as Harv said when I said it in that Discord that day. It's corporate America for you.
Well,
yeah. Sorry, I'll let you go first.
My take generally on it, ultimately, at the end of the day, and it's not the most, I think, appealing take, but at the end of the day, a lot of these things are inevitable, right? You're inevitably going to have these people are going to get their golden parachutes. At this point, I'm at the point where I'm like, just get the fuck gone. Like, please leave. Like, just get out so that way all that hate and animosity can just leave this company, and then we can start refreshing and starting new and having all that. Like Sony, like the idea was, Xbox put in 68 million. Well, they have another billion that they could to just flush everything, all the bad stuff out of it. They're still going to have to take on the state of California stuff and however that gets handled, whatever Microsoft needs to do to get that taken care of and switched out. I have a feeling that they'll be the ones to do it for sure. However the company is after this is all settled and they're officially part of the Xbox brand, we'll see. But I think all the negativity and all the people that need to go and needs to get out. Take your money and get the fuck out. Like literally, like, because at the end of the day, it's almost inevitable that they're gonna get something, rather than gone today. But that's not gonna happen until this is finalized, and hopefully by the time it's finalized, they're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby Kotick was gonna get $252 million, even if he got fired. Yeah. So he would have got a golden parachute no matter what. So
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Him getting bought out now, not getting bought out, he was gonna get millions and millions of dollars, nonetheless. Board members are the same way too. It at this point, it's more about fixing the culture that's inside the company itself. That those people are gonna get their money no matter how you kind of rearrange everything on the board.
Yeah, I just hope it's spent on lawyer fees. The rat bastards.
I mean, yeah, it kind of depends on what California is doing, because California can really only sue the company. They can't sue the individuals. The individuals, that's different lawsuits at that point.
And that sucks too, because Microsoft, of course, probably has really good lawyers, so they'll probably get away with it. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see when
you're muted.
Yeah, they have Microsoft lawyers, so yes, they're going to
probably going to get away with it.
It depends on what Microsoft does internally at that point too, right? Like, because Microsoft, for the most part, is like, they're very inclusive, they're very diverse, they take the shit very seriously. Mm-hmm. But it kind of depends on what they do with what they do internally compared to what happens with like lawsuits and stuff like that. My biggest thing for this is like, it's good that they're getting bought out, because again, they can clean house, get rid of all these people that are bad, because like I think most of them are not even part of the company, but like there are still part of the company, and just get rid of them, flush like Mario said, flush them out, and then start getting these developers stuff that they want to work on at this point.
Yeah,
we'll support shit that they don't want to.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. We'll get to that towards the thing. So let's go down the list of like what's happened with this thing so far. So this is obviously coming, like we said, during controversies with Activision Blizzard. Microsoft did hint that they were evaluating their partnership as far back as November, early December. If you guys remember when this whole thing happened, everybody in the industry was kind of talking about like how they were going to hold Activision Blizzard accountable for everything, and Microsoft had said that they were evaluating their partnership with Activision Blizzard at the time. I imagine these deals have to go back pretty far. I doubt it within those 3 months that all of a sudden Activision Blizzard is bought. They probably had those deals going on as probably far back as like March.
According to Grub, that this actually came quickly. So it's a high possibility that this did happen before that statement.
Panic bottom? Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't know if it's panic buying, but like I feel like Microsoft saw Activision Blizzard be like, this is the moment to do it. Like because like Activision Blizzard is at its
Weakest.
not even plateau. What's there's peaks.
The
At their
lowest amount
valleys.
of like
They're at their
it's
valley
lowest,
right now.
Yeah.
They're at their valley right now. This is the perfect time to go snag them at fucking what was it, like 80 cents or $80 per share or something like that? What was it? Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the lowest it could have possibly been at the time. Probably. I don't know. Like obviously, this is obviously going to boost those stocks right there.
Insanity amount of money. Insane amount of money.
68
For a
billion
company
is
that
not
big.
something. 68 billion is not something to like slouch at. It is an insane amount of money.
This is one of the biggest news stories ever. Like,
Yeah. No, this is like we'll talk more about how this is going to change the industry, but this is industry changing stuff right here. So Bobby Kotick's position remains up in the air at Microsoft, but it seems that he will be stepping down as the CEO of Activision Blizzard. So a lot of people are talking about this, about how the wording of Bobby Kotick seems that like there's a possibility that he might just start working at Microsoft as like either an associate or something like that. I really do hope they don't do that. That would be an insanely dumb idea on everybody's part. Yeah. But it just the way like everybody's wording it, it's a possibility that he might just have a job at Microsoft now.
All right, Kotick, you're going to be an associate in the Microsoft store,
or like what do they call those people? Like a consultant. They call them
Next to the
consultants and stuff
shop.
like that.
Yeah, go make the double doubles.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, if Kotick was smart, he would get the fuck away from this industry as far as possible, because nobody's gonna allow you to work in this industry. Nobody's really gonna let you work in this industry and have a say in anything at this point after what you've done.
He's stepping down. Right?
He's 100% confirmed he's stepping down from Activision Blizzard. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done. He's not going anywhere. Like, they've also already shown off like what the quote unquote the pecking order is now in Microsoft, and he's not in any of them. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's at that point.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about this. Gamers are obviously really happy or really happy about this, or pretty pissed off. I know it's sparking a debate on whether or not this is good for the industry to buy a company this big with franchises this kind of intertwined between like each individual system. Like World of Warcraft has always kind of been a PC game, so that's not really the point of that. It's more so like Call of Duty, more so just like Diablo showing up on other platforms. You know, it's insane to think that like Call of Duty being, love it or hate it, the biggest franchise every year, just selling gangbusters of games every single year, is now a possible Game Pass game. It's now a possible Xbox exclusive game. It's one of the biggest games you can buy in a year, and it might just not show up on PlayStation. It's a possibility. And gamers are not really happy.
I'm calling it right now. 2024, after 2024, Call of Duty is going to be an Xbox exclusive game.
It's possible.
Warzone, multi-platform. Call of Duty is going to be a
with its own probably with its own exclusive stuff. But we'll talk about how this will change Call of Duty and all those games in a minute. I mean, I don't get why people are pissed off about the Game Pass stuff. I understand not everybody enjoys the idea of a subscription service like Game Pass and would rather spend $70 on a game for some reason and have it 100% fully yours. I used to be that way. It used to be 100% like I have to own a game. I don't like digital stuff like that. That's why I never really got into PC gaming until a few years ago. But now that I'm in the digital ecosystem, it's just like I can play a game that's from 2006 on my computer and I own it. Like I can just play it. You know what I mean? I don't have to have a disc. I don't have to have a PlayStation 2, plug it in, do that. Like I don't have to do all that. I just have it. And I think Game Pass is good for that. Game Pass will hopefully keep all these games going for even longer, being a service, not necessarily tied to a console. You know what I mean? It's tied to, streaming. It's tied to a PC. It's tied to an Xbox. You can play it on anything that it is compatible with. And there's so many ways to play. And like Fee said earlier, it's getting games in hands in hands of people who possibly can't do that. Not everybody has an Xbox. If you don't have an Xbox, you probably have a PC. If you don't have a good PC, you can stream the games at least. And that's big. That's insane. You can play it on your phone. You can play it on you can hack your Switch and play it on that. Like, there's so many avenues to play for it, and I don't understand why.
Condone hacking switches.
I mean,
it will not work.
Yeah, sure, it won't work. Anyway,
you complain
yeah.
all the time that you can't use your Switch online because you've tried to hack it.
No, that's because I got banned. That's a totally different thing. But anyway, yeah, it's there's so many avenues for it. I just don't understand why people are so fixated on the idea to spend $70 for a game for no reason whatsoever, other than, well, I own it now. Well, that game depreciates like in a week. Like that game is now as soon as you open that game, take it to GameStop, it's worth like $35. So I don't know. What are you really owning at that point? Because even like the discs themselves nowadays don't really have all the stuff that the day one game has.
Like, you need the disc to play the game anyways now. So like at this point, like it doesn't make any sense to me.
Like let's say I turned off the internet on your Xbox right now and you put your disc in, it's not gonna work. You're not gonna have all the patches. You're not gonna have the day one patches. We live in a time where games are not ready. When they release, they day one patch it because they have to get everything ready for that day one. Even in day one, it's probably not going to work anyway. It's launch now, fix later mentality.
I'm gonna have to write you up on that one, Fee. Let me get your employee ID, please.
Honestly, I want to strike. I want to
from us a little bit later tonight.
I want to file a formal complaint against Fee.
I want to talk. Like I know Aaron Gar. I want to talk about I want to talk about what Aaron Gar said in chat, but once we get to that point, I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move. Does anybody have anything to say about the people getting pissed off about Game Pass or anything like that?
Get over it. Get over it.
Yeah, get over it.
It's
the best deal in gaming history. Fucking support this thing.
Yes.
It's so good.
I mean, like at this point, I think we really need to like it's 2022. We really need to like just remove the idea that like it has to be like console versus console. Yeah. Everyone should be able to access games. Like the amount of times that I've heard people like be upset that they can't access certain games on certain areas, and now with Phil Spencer's like idea of like getting games to everybody, like that's what I want. Like I think that if like I really enjoy a game, I want to be able to like talk to that about that game with a lot of my friends or like with everybody, and I think the more areas that you can get access to it, I think that's a great opportunity. So yes, I understand some people are upset about Game Pass, which one, I will never really truly understand that particular frustration because it allows you to get access to a ton of games, a lot of games that you probably wouldn't have chosen to play previously, but now that you have with a monthly subscription, there's not just like huge games like Fallout and Halo that you can get access to. There's like indie games.
I think I have an argument against this.
But you can't even say like that looks like a Game Pass game. Because if Halo is a Game Pass game, that puts it all into perspective at that point.
I'll be honest, I used to not like I thought Xbox was dumb. Like I'm gonna be honest, like if you asked me 10 years ago my thoughts on Xbox, it was literally the like quite honestly what you would assume is like if we had to like put them into specific like high school cliques, it's the jock of the like console like series. It's
like, I agree with that.
The sports, they had the like first person shooters. They were all like whenever you saw like anytime in a movie when it had a bunch of guys playing video games, they're always on a freaking Xbox because it's just like, oh, they're playing like FIFA, oh, they're doing this, oh, they're playing Halo, and then I'm just like, I'm not really interested because a lot of the games that I really enjoyed. What?
It's that net code.
It's that net code.
Oh my god. But no, I think now that like they're just opening ways for other people to get access in like different types of genres and stuff like that. I think it's cool. What's your argument, Mario?
The argument is not for the people that obviously have strong internet connections and for people that have that can download 70 gigs in a matter of seconds, or for people that can wait 30 minutes and then your game is done. For the people that are in the rural areas and the smaller towns, and for the people that rely on that rely on the physical games and stuff like that, I understand where they're coming from as someone who's worked at a GameStop. Granted, Frank is right. A lot of the discs nowadays, especially the last Halo game, you can't even play without the discs. So that in certain aspects, they're sort of pushing them out in a lot of ways. And I think that could suck for those specific people that are arguing about it. But at the end of the day, it's like,
Yeah. No, I understand. Like I used to play, like when I first started playing WoW, I had 10 megabits down.
no.
For people who don't understand, that's fucking
That's a
terrible.
lot. That's really slow.
That's really slow internet. I should not have been playing World of Warcraft, but did I? Absolutely I did. And so like I don't know. Like I understand and I can respect that specific viewpoint and argument, but at the same time, I don't think that's a big enough reason to. Like I feel as though like it's gonna take a few days.
It's
Like sure,
just
it'll take like a day or two to download something, but
it's something you have to think about and plan ahead. It's not like
Yeah.
I can't just like decide I want to play a game and download it and hop on it. I have to be able to I have to make sure it's at night so it's not interfering with anybody else who wants to use the internet. I just have to let it run all night. And that's a pain in the ass. Like I hate that I have to do that, but it's just the reality of life. And like it's nice when I have games that don't rely on the internet because then I can just download it once and occasionally update it and just not worry about it. But
the problem with those
so
is that
many
they're the
games
smaller
are-
titles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And which isn't a problem because I only really like smaller titles. I only really play indie games, right? So it works out fine for me. But if you're thinking of these big titles, the big sellers, if you're making people rely on downloading like 100 gigs of content, you're gonna lose out on the people who are in smaller areas, who live in the middle of the forest, like
No, I agree with
but
that.
I get why that's the trend. Most of your audience is going to be in a city, in a populated area that has high-speed internet, like hookups in their house. And so it makes sense. I'm not going to sit here and say just because I can't participate in that, nobody should have it. I get why it's moving this direction, but it is a consideration. People who live in rural areas are more excluded now than ever.
Quick thing I want to bring up. Aaron Guard brought this up in the chase. It's easy fix. Xbox needs to develop a download scheduler to cut you off even there. They have it where you can download these games days in advance, where you can actually hit pre-install. So this is what happened to me. I pre-installed the latest Rainbow Six Extraction game, and when I went to go hit play, it froze and it wouldn't continue forward. You know what I had to do? I had to delete it again and reinstall it for it to work. So I downloaded 70 gigs then, and I have to reinstall another 70 gigs then. So it's like they have something like that, but it's never guaranteed that it's going to work. It happens to be during Halo too.
And that's basically every kind of
But I gotta ask,
pre-installer.
what is the other solution then?
Well, here's the thing. So I was going to mention this when Mario had talked about how people in rural areas and stuff like that. I do agree. Yeah, no, there is a problem with people having to do stuff on the internet and not having the internet. This was an initial problem with the Xbox One. If you guys remember how Xbox One originally wanted to go full digital, and people hated it because people like soldiers and stuff like that who are out there can't download these games at that point. Look at us now. We're downloading games at this point. But anyway, that's not the point. Point being, I feel like the gun is being pointed at the wrong people at that point. Because like I said earlier, it's all your data isn't on that disc anyway. And if you want if you want a future like that where, game discs still matter, point the finger at the companies who are still putting out games that are broken day one and patched with day one patches that make it impossible for people in rural areas to play those games if they just have a disc with no internet.
I mean,
But
also,
my thought still stands. What is the solution?
I mean, there really is none.
Honestly,
The original solution was to
what
have
I
it all
would
on
love?
discs. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, again.
What if you don't
in
have
an ideal
what if you
world-
but what if you don't have a way to get that on disc?
No, multiple
You
discs.
live in a forest. You can't
Back
get
in
it
the,
on
in the
disc.
360 era, we've had dual discs, right? We had multiple, not even then. PS1 era, we had multiple discs back in the day. Like these are things that we've solved before that maybe we just
Blu-ray
have
discs
to.
can hold a lot of data.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why don't we go back to that and then actually multiple discs? Like even The Last of Us. No, is that even a Blu-ray? It is a Blu-ray, right? The Last of Us Part 2 is 2 discs.
It is.
So
No,
like,
I don't know.
I
Install disc
the
and
honest answer
gameplay
for
disc.
what the solution is.
yeah,
It's this is the trend. Discs are becoming obsolete,
yes,
right? Like that's a reality. The solution is being able to download things in chunks,
yeah,
right? Like so if you can have like a game download, right? And it's like 70 gigs and you have a certain amount of gigs that's like maps, a certain that's like character rendering, right? A certain that's like animation rigs. Being able to break those out and download piece by piece would be
I'm gonna
a
be
viable solution for
I feel
this
like we have a great
because
solution for this. It's called
and-
Stadia.
Yeah.
you need a solid internet connection to run it, though.
I
That's
can't stream.
Speaking of Stadia,
If you try to
we have a
stream something from my internet, you're not going to be able to play it. You have to have such high quality internet to stream that it's the same problem.
Yeah.
But being able to download something piece by piece allows people to give their bandwidth a break and not trying to download like 100 gigs at once. If you can do it section by section over like a couple hours, a couple days, whatever, that's a viable solution. But that's more work on the back end, right?
yeah, it's
Figuring
a lot
out
of
how
that's
to-
a lot of work.
Yeah, it like
Yeah.
as like a person that
I
kind of knows how
understand
that
that,
works.
but if-
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
I understand that.
we
I
go that from
understand
that,
what
yeah.
the process would look like to go into that. But I'm saying if you want to have a viable solution for people in low bandwidth areas, that is with
Yeah.
the trend of discs becoming obsolete, this is the next best option.
Hi.
Hello.
Resident Cloud Gamer here. Gonna be honest, there like I respect it, but at the same time, I think moving backwards, like when it comes to things like discs, is not the option. I don't like when it comes to downloading things in pieces. Sure, I'm going to give you some idea. When it comes to things like Stadia, you need a minimum of 100, like to 10 megabits. So the same internet that I had in rural Nova Scotia 10 years ago is the minimum of what you need to be able to play things like Stadia. You're not looking at something.
Theoretically, that's
So,
in theory.
that is
if
the
you try to
minimum. That is the
actually watch a
minimum.
game that plays.
So that's
I'm
like I said, the
saying-
minimum.
Even if it's
You
playable.
can't. It's not playable. Like in theory, it's playable, but it's gonna look like absolute trash, and it's like it doesn't run well enough for me to consider it playable.
Okay, so that I'm just reading off the information that it's 10 megabits down, specifically a minimum. I think right now moving things into like a lot of different right now as it stands, worse in 2022, it's still fucking difficult to get a console. It's still difficult to you can't get a computer with a disk drive. It is so freaking difficult. That is like a unicorn right now is trying to find a freaking computer with a disk drive. I think sure downloading games is a viable option, but I think future proofing and like moving forward, I think things like cloud gaming is the option. Like that's just me, and that's not just me saying that because I'm on a Stadia, like I'm on a cloud-based podcast. It's
How dare you?
Oh God forbid I'm giving you guys this information, but I think moving forward, it's more likely that there's going to be internet accessible like moving forward than for us to do things like we see discs almost as a novelty. Like I think there's like some companies that still do indie games on discs, but
I feel like indie games, they do discs for like their special edition stuff. but, like,
correct,
that's
they do
really
it for a
about
special edition. Yeah, they do
Yeah,
it
it's
for
like their
special
limited run
editions.
stuff.
But no, I think moving
It's more expensive to put it on discs than it is to put
Yeah.
digital.
Yeah, and it's very wasteful to the environment as well to put things on discs, which is another
Yeah.
reason why I think we're starting to move towards a more digital age. Because like making discs in Mexico is probably like if you ever look at a disc, it always says made in Mexico. Not good for Mexico. I'll tell you that.
I'll say this, and you can either agree with me or not, but I would say that services like Game Pass and streaming and stuff like that, these are all privileges. You have to have the privilege in order to get these things. And I would still argue that there's a subset of people that just don't have these privileges. I think I
can speak for Fee at this point too, where we live her and I live in a country that games are like $110 now per game, and spending over $100 on a video game is
that's
expensive.
Base game, by the way. That's not the special edition. That's not the. It's not cheap.
Yeah,
and
gaming is not cheap.
Gaming is now, I think, in the last maybe like 5 years, gotten to a point where like it's more of like not really a novelty, because that's not the right word, but like it is a boutique kind of type thing to do now because of how expensive games are getting.
It's back to the word.
It's the same thing people did.
$80 now for games.
It's the same thing people did when movies were becoming big, right? When at home watching movies at home became big, people would spend $800 on a Betamax player and like almost $50 on just one movie to watch Back to the Future at home. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. We're doing the same. History is repeating itself just now with gaming.
So honestly, in the same way. No. You continue.
No, I was gonna say we're getting off the topic of Activision.
But yeah. Go ahead, Fee.
I was just gonna say that if we're saying that internet is a privilege, video games is a completely different thing. Like that is.
I was gonna say it was a privilege as well.
Yeah, video games are more of a privilege than the internet, because right now, as it stands, to be able to do things like schooling, to be able to do jobs, you have to have the internet. Video games, you don't need video games. As I know we are on a video game podcast, please calm down for the people who are listening to this particular point. But at least for myself, I was in a place at one point I didn't have video games. That was not something that I grew up with when I was a kid. That was completely not something that my family thought was a good idea, because we didn't have a lot of.
It's still the case right now.
Yeah, it's still the case. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I do spend money on video games, and I'm very privileged to the point that I am able to do things like get video games for my friends and be able to spend money on like frivolous things like mounts in a video game that I play on a regular basis. But no, I think things like Game Pass allows people that don't have those opportunities to be able to buy a ton of games, to be able to play games with their friends. I think this is a great opportunity for them to be able to play those games by getting things like, I know $13 a month is still, quite honestly, for a lot of people, that's still a lot of money out of their essentially their side fund, or at least their enjoyment or luxury fund. But it allows people to be able to have access to a lot more games than be able to spend $80, or in the case of Harv and I, $110 to buy one game. Because right now, I could, with my eyes closed right now, just open up Game Pass and download the entirety of the Halo Master Edition.
That's insane. I still think that's insane.
That's insane. I can download all the Fallout games that I want to play
for $13,
which is around $16 Canadian. But still, I don't mind spending $16 Canadian a month to be able to get access to a ton of games.
Yeah, and I argue most people who play a game these days nowadays anyway, for the most part, are very this is game of the week. I'm gonna play it for a week or a month and forget about it. That's what happens. But would you rather forget about a game that you spent $70 for, or would you rather forget about a game that you only paid $10 for in a subscription?
And people wonder why people other people wonder why other people gravitate towards free to play games like Fortnite and stuff like that, right?
No.
Yeah.
There's a reason why.
But anyway, back on topic with the Activision Blizzard stuff that was happening. So I'm gonna run through a few of these really quick since we've been kind of running over time here. So Sony stock tanked 12% following the news of the acquisition, resulting in a loss of an insane loss of $20 billion in market value. So this was a real big gut punch to Sony as well. There was no way Sony did not notice that this was happening, because they tanked pretty fucking hard right after this news came out. Following that, Phil Spencer reached out with Sony execs to talk about contract deals and the future of Activision Blizzard franchises on the PlayStation platform. The tweet that Phil Spencer put out, I believe this was yesterday, had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I think is the stream down?
No, we're not.
Okay, sorry. No, you're showing the screen. Okay. Had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry, and we value our relationship. I think that's a really good tweet from Phil Spencer. I really sometimes
it's worded so well. It's worded so well.
It's so worded so well because I was just about to say. I want to say this is good and Phil Spencer's a cool guy and everything like that, but at the same time, my personal like jadedness says like this just speaks corporate talk. You know what I mean? This is just corporate talk that like, yeah, we're gonna honor and desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation until at least those contracts end, and we can just do whatever we want.
It was very well crafted by his social media team. They hit all the buzzwords. Like it was very well crafted.
Yeah. I like Phil. Don't get me wrong. I really do like Phil Spencer. What he's done with the Xbox has been absolutely. What he's done with the Xbox platform has been absolutely insane. Especially the amount of bullshit the original Xbox One had to its name. He completely 180 that, and look at Xbox now. You know what I mean? I attribute a lot of what's going on now to the mentality of Phil Spencer, but at the same time, I do wonder if we're gonna have another Xbox 360, Xbox One heel turn, to where like Xbox 360, if you remember, was king. And people really loved it, but they didn't want crossplay. They didn't want to do this. They didn't want to play ball with anybody else. And then Xbox One came out, and now all of a sudden, Sony's on top, and Xbox wants to do all these really nice things like crossplay and wants to play ball with other companies and stuff like that.
Let me take you back. All right, let me take you back.
To the past, Samurai Jack.
Yeah. Not too far, please.
So, let me take you back when the Bethesda got bought, and like, oh man, guys, they would never do that. They would never, put, Elder Scrolls or Starfield or anything like that, Xbox exclusive. That would never happen. That they're just leaving money on the table, right? They're just leaving money on the table. Xbox doesn't care about that. As long as they got subscriptions, that's all that matters to them.
Yep.
Subscription is guaranteed money. That is 100% guaranteed money right there. People buying your game on a different console, that's not guaranteed money. This is a monthly thing.
Yeah, we had said it. I think we said it the other day when we were playing Final Fantasy. You don't even have to buy an Xbox anymore. It doesn't matter to Microsoft.
Yeah,
why would you?
All you have to do is buy Game Pass.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
That's it.
They already have people buying Game Pass and Xbox Live at this point. You know what I mean? Unless you do the Ultimate version, which is included with, I think, all that stuff. But anyway, you don't even have to buy an Xbox anymore. The Xbox doesn't attribute anything to their bottom line, other than a small little bump in revenue. That's basically about it. I don't even think they're making money on those consoles anymore.
I stand by it. After 2024, Call of Duty is going to be Xbox exclusive. Warzone is going to be multi-plat. That is going to be on everything. The reason, in my opinion, that people buy Vanguard, they buy the new Call of Duty, is because of Warzone. I think it's because of that. You get the guns. You don't get the guns if you don't have Warzone, or if you don't have the new game for Warzone.
Is that true? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if that's true.
No, that is.
I think so.
You don't
I don't know.
There's a lot of the guns you just don't get because you have to have Warzone, or you have to have the other Call of Duty, and to level up the guns, you have to have the other Call of Duty game. You don't have to level up, but to level them faster.
Yeah, if you want to be proficient in your time and everything like that, you have to But on that note, unless anybody else has anything to say about that, Microsoft. So this came out as well. It was a small little tidbit that Microsoft is looking to create its own metaverse, and look. I understand Facebook brought this up with their metaverse thing. I don't know why now every single company is now latching on to this idea of owning their own metaverse. It even came down to the original PlayStation creator coming out and being like, why do people want their own metaverses? There's no point to it. That the metaverse stuff it's like NFTs now. It's the new NFT thing. It's just like it's the new buzzword that companies are throwing out and trying to have their own version of. I don't even think anybody really understands what they're trying to do, because unless Microsoft is looking to create your own avatar and have its own virtual world, I don't understand how it's a metaverse. But that's the wording Microsoft used, and that's the one I put in the notes. I don't understand the metaverse stuff. I think it's weird. I don't know why we're latching onto a Facebook idea of all things. But here we are.
Before Facebook.
The metaverse stuff? I think I thought the meta stuff was because of
meta is, but not metaverse.
Yeah, I mean, metaverse has been used in like other things like before, like Persona and stuff like that.
It's been in high fiction. It's been in high fiction since forever, since like
Facebook isn't what who pioneered. Yeah, they weren't the one that they just.
It just seems like right after that announcement of Facebook wanting to do their own metaverse, now every company is now latching onto this idea that they have to have their own version of that. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think that's the future, at least for right now. At least until we can have Ready Player One suits and VR goggles, that's not the future.
Fair enough.
But yeah, the industry is now left wondering how good this decision is, and if Game Pass is the right move for staying in the future of gaming. We already talked about that.
Game Pass, it's hard enough to get people with two-factor authentication, let alone the fucking metaverse.
Let alone fucking metaverse, exactly. Yeah, so we already talked about Game Pass and the future of gaming. The Federal Trade Commission, right after this, announced that it will be reevaluating merger guidelines following this acquisition. I don't think this means that Microsoft is not going to be able to buy Activision Blizzard. It's simply that the FTC is looking to make sure that this stops happening.
No, they have to look through it. It's government protocol. They have to look through it.
Yeah, they have to look through it, but they're looking to reevaluate merger guidelines following this now, and they're looking to change some of it because this is going to keep happening. Activision is not the last company to be bought out. My guess on it, probably Take-Two is next, especially after buying Zynga, of all things. Like their market value went up. That would be a big buy for anybody who could actually afford Grand Theft Auto and basically a mobile studio platform. Also, nobody's really talking about this. With the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, they also technically bought a really huge esports scene with Call of Duty, StarCraft, with Overwatch. Those were some of the biggest esports scenes at those times. Not so much anymore because of COVID and everything like that. And obviously the controversies have changed a lot of that as well. But before COVID, before the controversies, those Overwatch, Call of Duty, all those were some of the biggest esports like events, especially Overwatch. And Microsoft now owns that and owns the company that did those, and by extension owns those esports avenues, which could be good. We might see more esports stuff from Microsoft, hopefully, like from maybe some of their games. Maybe this is their way of making Halo more of an esport. I don't know. Maybe we could start seeing actual tournaments and actual things for Halo.
They already began that. They already done that actually. Not that.
Well,
long
I mean,
ago.
actual big tournaments, not like
the
smaller ones. Yeah.
No. There's one where it's connected to Halo. You get skins from watching it. So they've been having big tournaments on their YouTube channel. Or not on their YouTube channel.
But I mean, not on the level of Overwatch, right? The Overwatch League.
Well, we'll find out
and stuff like
going
that.
forward. Yes, I'm saying that they're starting to do that.
I honestly think they're just going to close it up.
You think they're just going to not do the esports stuff?
I mean, they've been hemorrhaging money on Overwatch League for years now. So
there's stadiums built. I don't know. I think that once everything opens up, if they're still using that resources, I still think that there's a high chance.
They have Microsoft money now. They have the Microsoft Theater. Remember that?
Yeah. But the thing is also what Mario said. They got to open this stuff up. They got all this kind of thing. Like, who knows what this year is going to come? Who knows if
we don't know anything?
FireCon is going to be fucking the next variant that's going to pop up. Who knows? Right? So,
well, we'll see. Go forward for that.
I also wrote in notes here. What do you guys think in terms of acquisitions is next for Microsoft? Because obviously this is not the last one. There's no I know we joke that like 68 billion is a lot of money, but when and another piece of note here, when Xbox Game Pass is now surpassing 25 million subscribers, $10 times 25 million is a lot of money. They're gonna make back those billions pretty fucking quick. Who do you think realistically is next in this in this big buyout?
Are we conjunctioning this with that other thing at the bottom here with all the different? No, these are all what they own. Wasn't there a list here?
Yeah,
Fee?
it's the Jeff Keighley tweet.
Yes.
At the bottom, yeah.
Oh, those are all the companies that they own following the acquisition.
No.
Further down.
Further down.
One more page down.
Says, if you wonder about wondering about other big game companies that could be acquired, here are who remains in market caps. EA is at 38 billion, Take-Two is at 18 billion, Nexon is 15 billion, Bandai Namco is 15 billion, Embracer is 10.8 billion, Netmarble is 7 billion, Ubisoft is 7 billion, Konami is 6 billion, Square Enix is 5.6 billion, Capcom is 4.9 billion, and Sega is at 3.6 million.
So
billion,
hear me
sorry.
out. Hear me
Sega,
out.
how far they've fallen.
So hear me out. I think out of all the markets in which Xbox now has covered with both the acquisitions, the acquiring of Bethesda and also Blizzard, Activision here, the wide variety of games that you can come from all those studios are pretty much covering all their bases except for JRPGs.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
the two places in which I think could be something they consider is obviously Sega and or Square Enix.
Yeah,
Now, Square
I talked
Enix
to
is
Harv about
tougher.
this the other day too.
Square Enix, I feel like if Square Enix is gonna go anywhere, I don't think they are, unless Sony really wants to have that studio.
Yeah.
They would buy Square Enix. Square Enix
Yeah.
would be the next best thing, because Square Enix is so closely partnered with PlayStation that at this point it would just it's like
be a gut punch.
it's like the blue point of deals. Like it's just one of those things where you just kind of put these two together and you're good to go, kind of type thing.
Yeah. We talked about this the other day when we were playing Final Fantasy as well. Xbox has not done a really good job at speaking to Japanese markets. We've seen the memes about Xbox One literally not selling anything in Japan. We've seen how Japanese companies technically don't really support the Xbox when it comes to JRPGs and stuff like that.
No.
Personally, I don't think that any of these companies would play ball with Microsoft. If they already haven't played ball, they're probably not going to play ball anymore. I don't know how it works with buying like a Japanese company or anything like that. I don't know how that works. I feel like if anybody's going to buy any JRPG companies, like for example, Sega or any of these Japanese companies like Konami, Square Enix, Capcom, or Sega, I really do think it would be Sony. It would be dumb for Sony to not already be in talks with some of these companies at this point.
List, there'd be two companies that they would buy for sure. Like they would buy, that have an attempt at buying. Square Enix for sure. Bandai Namco would be the other one.
My
I think they
thing
would try to buy Konami.
My thing here is I don't know what in terms of money that Sony has, because I just don't pay attention to their financing.
But out of all the companies, the top three most profitable companies, the biggest companies, one is Tencent is number one.
Sure.
Sony is still number two, and then Xbox or Microsoft is number three. So Sony still has a lot of money
in gaming, though.
Well, you have to remember too that Sony also has a revenue gain from their music licensing, their movie licensing, and all that.
But they don't make a lot of money in their movies. That's why.
But the thing, Mario, Microsoft, this money that they bought with this isn't just Microsoft gaming money. This is Microsoft as a whole.
That's what I'm saying.
Company, right?
That's what I'm saying.
You know how many Word 365s they had to sell for this to work?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see Sony having the same amount of weight that they could do that.
I think realistically, Konami, Square Enix, Capcom, and Sega for Sony makes sense because those are well under the amount of billions that Sony could probably afford. Personally, I think Microsoft's next move is buying Take-Two.
Sony is more profitable than Microsoft. They have more money than Microsoft.
Maybe. I mean,
don't. That's what I mean. It is because they are a bigger company. They have more money. They're more profitable than Xbox is.
But are they allocating that money to
Microsoft.
buying gaming companies? You know what I mean? Is what I'm saying.
That allocation in gaming might be a little bit, but the thing is, Microsoft only has this much money because of Windows, because of Office, because of all these other companies
Yes.
that Microsoft owns.
I would
what I'm
argue
referring
that
to.
it's not
Yeah, but
just.
they're still number 3 though. They're still
Yeah.
number 3.
I would
In
argue
gaming
in
is what you're
terms of
saying.
like the
No,
in terms of
this is a whole. In a whole, they're number 3.
I would
Yeah.
argue in terms of the timing of like when they started acquiring all these companies and stuff like that. I don't think it's all Windows. I know I joked around saying that it's all Windows 365. I don't think it's all Windows. I really do think a lot of the money that is coming from buying that is going towards buying these companies is coming from Game Pass, because they weren't buying companies like this until Game Pass came out. They weren't spending boku bucks on buying a whole studio like Activision Blizzard until Game Pass came out. This is their way of constantly generating money.
Damn, dude,
And-
you can get $7 billion on the fly like that? Then I don't know, man. That's pretty crazy.
Well, I mean, think of it this way:
'Cause Game Pass
25
wasn't
million.
around for that long for them
Well,
to
think about it
generate
this way,
7 billion.
25 million times 10 every month, right? 25 million times 10 every single month. You're going to make a lot of money. And Game Pass is, well, it has been around for a good little bit that could start generating billions at this point.
But I'm
You know what
also
I mean?
pulling.
And that's not even including the people who are Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. That's $20 a month.
The number is 15. The number that I've been pulling from specifically is that Microsoft has been around for so long that they must have a huge war chest where they can have this money. That's what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for Sony specifically, where I'm like, could they do $3.6 billion? Because they have not done that so far.
Yeah,
Nowhere
I know
near.
what you're saying. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm referring to.
They haven't dropped the big bomb, right?
Yeah,
Like-
I don't
like
think
Microsoft
Sony as a
has.
company
They've
is
dropped-
allocating a
Microsoft-
lot to their gaming stuff.
Yeah, Microsoft's
personally.
dropped it twice already now with Bethesda and with Activision Blizzard at this point. And Sony hasn't done anything really. They bought what? Blue Point and maybe a couple of other studios.
Yeah, they've made
Concrete Genie and
they've
stuff.
made
They still haven't
smaller
said Blue
acquisitions
Point.
here and there.
They still haven't said Blue Point yet.
Oh, they haven't, have
No.
they? No.
No.
I remember that leaked that one day, and they just still haven't.
They still haven't
anything
said
about
it. Yeah, they're just teasing something. They still haven't said it.
Yeah.
But even so,
But yeah, I mean, in terms of that, I think Take-Two's next probably. If I was Microsoft, I would probably be looking at buying Grand Theft Auto, because once you buy Grand Theft Auto, you're now generating a lot of money again. You're generating some money because GTA 5 Online is a money printer for Take-Two. The only reason Take-Two could even buy Zynga, I would argue, is because of GTA 5.
And because of Zynga,
Yeah.
Zynga has lost.
Well, it's about
a
$2
lot of
billion.
money. Yeah,
It's about $2 billion. $2 billion isn't something to slouch at from a company like Take-Two. Only really put out Borderlands and Grand Theft Auto 5.
NBA. Don't forget about the NBA.
Yeah,
you can't
the
forget
2K
about
games
NBA.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't forget about.
So
that
if you
game.
buy 2K, you buy Take-Two, you buy 2K, and you buy Grand Theft Auto, two basically money printers in the gaming industry, it's over. What is Sony really going to do at that point?
Frank, you know the two things that people buy at GameStop constantly is in fact Grand Theft Auto and NBA 2K.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Those
So
are
it's
the
just
only
like,
games people buy at GameStop.
that's the only thing. That's the only things Take-Two put out, and it's like, okay, that's why they're worth 18 billion. Like, think about that. A sports game and Grand Theft Auto is all they've really put out in terms of games, and they're worth 18 billion dollars. That's insane. But I know I talked about this with Fee earlier, but like, what I know Harv had an opinion on this as well. How do you think this is going to change these franchises? So, like with Call of Duty, I really do think it's going to be they're going to start doing the bi-yearly thing. It's not going to be a yearly thing anymore after this year. I feel like we're going to have a lot more spaces in between when we start seeing Call of Duty games again. But what do you guys think
do
in terms of
do the Assassin's Creed thing to the game
give it like 4 years?
every 2 years?
I'm not convinced until the game stops being number one.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
convinced.
True. That's
I'm not convinced that they're going to do it until the game stops being number one. The numbers right after the acquisition went out there, the numbers for the top game of the year came out, and it was Vanguard.
It's Vanguard.
Yeah.
And it's on a slow year, which is
It is on a slow year.
Think about, which
Yeah.
is crazy to think about. Yeah.
Yeah. I would argue that comes from a lot of what these games being able to come out yearly is a lot of crunch and a lot of just kind of bad workplace like kind of mentality of like we have to get these out every year. You have to get these out every year, and that definitely has attributed to employees not being very happy in the workplace and stuff like that. I do wonder if Microsoft is going to keep that type of workplace or allow these studios, like I know probably not Raven Software, but like like Treyarch might want to work on something else, or Radical Entertainment, or Sledgehammer Games. Like I was telling Harv, High Moon Studios used to make some really good fucking games, really good like licensed IPs. The Fall of Cybertron games are awesome. Some of the top tier Transformer games you can play even to this day. And like games like Deadpool, who like those games really encompassed like what made those characters really fun and unique. High Moon Studios hasn't made anything like that since. And they've just been stuck on Call of Duty. And I imagine that studio would want to work on something else other than Call of Duty, given the opportunity that Microsoft now has a say-so in this, and not Bobby Kotick, for example. Especially like Beanox, right? Beanox worked on Beanox was I believe Guitar Hero, isn't it?
I don't know anything about Beanox. Guitar Hero used to be something else entirely.
Harmonix?
Well, that was
Harmonic.
afterwards,
Yeah.
but that's something else. It was Neversoft, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
It's
but
something
Neversoft
else.
is gone. I talked to
Well,
Harv about
Neversoft
this
is
too.
like blended into these different games.
It got dissolved, and now that team is like in a bunch of different teams and stuff like that. But the name Neversoft is that company is gone technically, which sucks because I would love to see them work on another, Tony Hawk. But I doubt most of the people who made the cool Tony Hawk games that we grew up with are even still at that company, so it doesn't even matter.
No, however, though, if I'm not mistaken, it was is it Toys for Bob? There's one of these groups here they gave a chance and gave Tony Hawk to, and they fucking nailed it, not right out of the park. So
Toys for Bob's with Spyro.
one of these games did. I'm trying to remember which one. I think it was Toys for Bob's did Spyro and
Could be right.
Tony Hawk.
Could be right.
Even so, there's enough studios here that they can differentiate and fill out the portfolio that they need to, right? We need a platformer. Fucking, you have 3 different groups here that can easily make different types of platformers. You want a shooter? Boom, we have a shooter here, clearly, in any of these fucking studios. So they definitely have opportunities to expand their portfolio and go in different directions and bring back classic things that have been hidden and gone for years. Bring back Pitfall, make it hardcore. Who knows? You have opportunities here. Granted, if they're going to change the schedule, because Activision's a fucking one pump chump every year. They have one goddamn game, and that is, of course, Call of Duty. Thank you for agreeing with me, Harv Leon, or whatever I'm going to call you. You're going to be, ow, cat, you scratched the shit out of me. Damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Different opportunities here for sure.
Yeah. Fee, what do you honestly think is going to change in terms of like for example, right? World of Warcraft becoming a Game Pass add-on,
and on console.
I don't think it's going to come on console. I think that's too much. That's asking too
If
much.
Final Fantasy go on console, come on now.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Come on, guys.
I don't think they're going to convert that much time into World of Warcraft like that.
It has
I don't either.
literally been it's been almost 2 decades since that MMORPG has been live. I am very doubtful that they're ever going to bring that to console. There's just too many things going on with that game that it just doesn't seem to be feasible. But I could be wrong. I could be saying something different in a year's time. No. This entire thing kind of stumps me a little bit. Just because this is one of those types of moves that you did not no one was expecting. This was massive to a point that there are employees from Blizzard who found out that they were now Microsoft employees by a Discord message. There have been people who were just like, I had no idea that this was happening. And so I'm interested to see what Phil Spencer and the team at Microsoft are going to do with this essentially behemoth of a studio, combined studios, because it's just there's a lot of things to unpack. Also, we need to put into perspective that they also have 2 delayed games right now, which is Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4, the new Diablo game that they've been working on. So I'm interested to see how those are going to go. I do understand that they are going to be respecting the contracts that were made before the acquisition, but curious to see what's going to play, or at least what they're going to do moving forward, because a lot of people are not really liking Overwatch, and a lot of the hype for Diablo has kind of been dying down, and with the excitement that people have been having for other MMOs, World of Warcraft's been kind of dwindling a little bit. So it's a lot of things that were just kind of like on its last legs for the most part. I think what happened last year was kind of the nail of the coffin for Blizzard, which I think is probably why they did this particular large move. But I don't know. There is not a chance in hell I'm going back to World of Warcraft. So
Oh yeah, no.
there's
Yeah.
nothing that can tell me on that. I'm too invested now in Final Fantasy 14 and other games. And yeah, the community itself in Final Fantasy 14 is the reason why I would go back and touch
Yeah.
that game with a 10-foot pole.
From what I hear, the WoW community is literally just full of shitters. So
I mean, I want to say, like, for the people who I did play World of Warcraft with, because I'm like, I think one of them listens at least. You guys were great, but y'all know that there were some really shitty people on there, and I have not experienced that in Final Fantasy. And for that reason, I'm going to stick with Final Fantasy 14.
yeah. Anybody else think there's going to be any changes to some of these games coming up because of this acquisition? Okay.
I mean, for sure, it's gonna happen. Like that's the problem with like the idea of monopolies happening in any sort of ecosystem, right? It's beneficial for the companies at the top. It sucks for everybody else. They don't have to put as much effort into their product for it to still be successful. So, like, as much as we want to like believe that everybody who's working in this industry is doing it out of love and they want to put out the best product they can, that's just not reasonable, right? Like we're gonna see diminishing quality on some of these products because it's about how much money they can get out of them.
I mean, also there was there was a question, and I apologize that I did not grab this tweet. There was an interview with Phil Spencer, and he wants to kind of get back to what Blizzard used to be, which was like the original games, the great games that he grew up with, or at least the games that we saw like well over 2 decades ago, like Warcraft, Warcraft 2, and all these other games that like some people who are really nostalgic for, but also at the same time an audience that may not be at least familiar or recognize them, and try to bring those to the forefront. So I'm hoping to see some of like the older games that Blizzard was known for coming to Game Pass, so we have an entirely new generation introduced to them. I will admit I didn't play the original Warcraft games, but I've heard some quite decent things about it. So
Warcraft 3, very good.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about Warcraft 3, and then we have other games too that we didn't even talk about. There's StarCraft. Who knows what
StarCraft 2?
Yeah. I'm not a StarCraft person, but I've heard nothing but good things about where StarCraft has been.
Yeah. There's just so many things that they could do.
Two very good franchises.
Yeah. Phil Spencer, if I remember correctly, in that interview, name dropped King's Quest.
Yeah,
I think it was King's Quest. That was the thing. He wants to revive King's Quest.
It's more story based.
Like he wants to revive King's Quest, and he wants to revive a lot of old, like just kind of dormant Activision IPs.
I used a controller when I played King's Quest, the one that came out for Xbox and PlayStation not that long ago. So, but it is a point and click adventure, if I'm not mistaken, like you were saying, Harv.
Yeah, it is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I love it. It's Christopher Lloyd. It's telling a story as an older version of the main character. He's telling his back history.
Yeah, I've
so good.
I've seen it in the arcades too when I was growing up. I saw it in the arcades and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, and just the last piece of note here. Phil Spencer wants Sony to have a Game Pass equivalent. Spartacus, yeah. I think this is good. I want Sony. The thing is, when people get, he's doing Zoltan from fucking Dude, Where's My Car?
Can you stop doing like signs with your hands right now? Dude?
I was doing Spartacus.
It's Zoltan from Dude, Where's My Car? Anyway, I think when people get mad about Game Pass being a thing, I really do think a lot of the people are just mad that Sony didn't have the idea first, and as Sony's not implementing it first. There needs to be good competition in the market, and before Game Pass there really was not good competition in the market. Sony was really kind of dominating when it comes to their own IPs being some of the best sellers out there, and Xbox was kind of bleeding on trying to try new things and kind of failing over and over again, and people not wanting to spend $70 on wanting to try their experiments. Now you spend $10 to try their experiments, and some of them actually land. But Sony really does need to step up and create something equivalent, because on the PlayStation market, I really don't feel like buying a PlayStation game anymore. I know there's a PlayStation 5 right here, right behind me. Fun fact, it's unplugged. It's not even plugged in. It's literally unplugged. Things are falling off of my record player, but it's not plugged in.
Earthquake happening right now?
Yeah. No, because it's on a table and stuff like that. But
if an earthquake happened in Frank's house, you would see so many cool shit just fall over him.
No, your camera was shaking at the same time.
Oh yeah, because like my monitor is on like an arm. But yeah, no, I don't really feel like spending $70 on a game, especially like a game like Ratchet and Clank, for example, where I didn't know if I would really like the new one or anything like that. It just doesn't make any sense. But they really do need to come out with an equivalent like immediately at this point.
Oh, we got Horizon coming up.
Yeah, we got Horizon coming up. Spend $70 on Horizon.
I'm not buying it. I'm gonna wait till it comes to a game. I didn't really enjoy the first one. That's a known fact about me. But yeah, this is gonna be the first big exclusive where I'm like, I don't feel like putting down $70 for it. It doesn't speak to me. Now, if it was on a service, then I would try it. But because it is not, I will not do it.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited for this game.
But if it was Spider-Man, I'll buy it immediately if I could.
Oh, I'll buy Spider-Man immediately.
I will do tricks in the street to make sure that I have enough money to play Spider-Man. Guarantee it.
On that note, does anybody else have any closing thoughts on the Activision Blizzard buyout?
Other than fuck Bobby Kotick.
Fuck Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
Get every one of those fuckers out of there. Have all the victims that are associated with anything get taken care of, and start making new games. Make Tony Hawk again. Oh, yeah. and Guitar Hero as well.
Yeah.
Bring that back.
Just a quick closing thing, because I just remembered it. Mike Ibarra from Activision, who's currently head of the company, has already kind of said that they are starting to weed out the people who are pieces of shit in the company, and they already started to fire them. I believe even before the acquisition.
On the Blizzard side, right? He's on the
Blizzard side, he's on the Blizzard side. They've already started to kind of weed out the shitty people and stuff like that, even I believe before the acquisition. And the other thing is Phil Spencer has said on the record that they are retaining most. I don't know if he said all or most, but they are retaining the employees of Activision and Blizzard. So we'll see how well that goes. If they are going to retain all of them, or if they're going to retain some of the teams, or if they're going to retain.
I mean, when it comes to like a big merger, there's always redundancy. So I'm glad that people aren't losing their jobs. Mm-hmm. People that work on these games, they're not going to lose their jobs.
Or even an opportunity to maybe even merge into other studios that Microsoft owns.
Oh my God. I mean? The possibilities, I think, now for those Activision people to go into all those other studios potentially is pretty great, actually.
Yeah, so. Like if they want to jump to like Playground 343 or something like that, right? Like In Exile and stuff like that. Yeah. So.
I will say that if that does happen, I hope a lot of the as much as I know that a lot of the mentality at Activision Blizzard was because of like the shittiness that is that workplace. There are some really shitty people at Activision Blizzard who like really don't care about the end user gamer and only really care about their own personal accolades. And I really do hope those people do not get retained, because some of those people are very much, you're going to play the game we make and you're going to like it, whether you like it or not. But yeah, on that note, that's basically it.
Well, Frank,
I mean, we could just go through it really quick. We don't have to talk about any of these. There's just other pieces of news.
I mean, go for it, I guess.
There was one I do want to bring up just because it's relevant to this, and that's the TechCrunch one. So we're only going to talk about one of these tidbits this week. TechCrunch's Amanda Silberling reported that Raven software testers at Activision Blizzard formed the first union at a major U.S. gaming company. So where gaming companies are starting to get unionized. I honestly, I don't know too much about unions, so I don't know what to really say about this, how big of an impact this is going to be.
Union.
I hope so. I don't know. My experience with unions has been pretty bad. My dad used to pay an exorbitant amount of money to a union, and when his job literally fired him randomly, the union did nothing to help him. So I don't know where that money went. I don't know how the union works. I don't know how they did, but I know at least 12 people lost their jobs and nobody was there to help them. So I don't know how unions work. I don't know if he was just in a bad one.
Not like that. That's exactly the opposite of what they're supposed to do.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know what he was paying. He was paying almost like $150 to $200 a month to this union, and they did absolutely nothing to help him when he was out of work. So I don't know how unions work, but my experience has been bad. So I don't know.
When it comes to unions, it's you get either one of two experiences out of unions. One being that experience where the union doesn't care, and the other union is like, yeah, they care about their employees. They pretty much represent you against the employer. That's really what they do. No. So whatever your benefit is, they have that benefit and they bring that to your employer and be like, this is what we want. This is what all like the employees want. And can you guys give us this kind of stuff? And if you don't, then the union versus employer, and then you go on strike and all that kind of stuff. And then they barter for you. They pretty much represent you at your workplace. That's pretty much what they do.
Well, good for them. Good for them. I hope that union is really good. I hope this means a more positive change for people in the QA field, because I know the QA field people have been very much shit on these last few years in terms of just like the amount of work they've been doing and stuff like that. But that's basically it, unless anybody else has anything to say on that as well.
If you're pro-union, good for you. If you're anti-union, sorry.
Sorry, I guess.
Sorry.
It kind of depends on what you jump on at that point, right?
Yeah.
It's all your personal
well, thank you, Frank, for filling us all up with the news, with both you and Fee collecting everything that was both you and Fee filling us up with all this Phil Spencer news.
Why?
You said it. I was going to speed right through it. Anyways, this has, of course, been episode 38.
Fill me out, Spencer. Fill me up.
If this episode didn't fill you out with all the information and stuff to be recommended, then I don't know what is. This is going to be a fun editing project. I want to thank everyone here, of course, and everyone in the chat joining us live who are joining us on Fridays. Thank you so much. And I want to know, where can people find you? So, Fee, where can people find you on the internet?
Well, people can find me here. People can find me over at twitch.tv/Serenix when I pull my life together and start streaming again, which is hopefully within the next few weeks. You can also check me out every other week over on the Game Source Network, where I talk with two really great friends of mine, Jake and Aaron, and we talk about all things Stadia. This week, it was definitely an interesting perspective and kind of just like a non-filtered thoughts of what we think of where Stadia is currently. So I'd highly recommend checking out the latest episode. Also, you can check me out every other week where I'm going to be, it is Attack on Titan time, baby. And we're doing essentially coverage, and we're doing reviews of 2 episodes per sit down. So this week we did episode 76 and 77. We're not going to be recording next week, but the week after we are going to be live recording, and it's accessible over on the Penultimate Conquest. We'll be talking about episode 78 and 79. So definitely check those out if you're an Attack on Titan fan. If you are behind, definitely watch them first before listening to the podcast, because we talk about verbatim what happens in the episode, and so there's spoilers galore.
Fantastic. If you are interested in that, please check out all those things that Fee is involved in. Sly, what are you involved in?
You can find me everywhere on the internet at SlyCloneMC. You can find me here on Point in Progress, and you can find me all of the places co-hosting Stark Radio. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Absolutely. Frank, where can people find you on the net?
You find me here at Point of Progress. You find me at Twitter at Kestrel1A. You can find me on Ubisoft playing video games as the Maelstrom Win.
Right.
No D at the end. That's where you can find me.
Harv,
Minus the D.
minus the D.
Minus the D.
Harv, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at Beard in the Hair, pretty much everywhere except YouTube. Beard in the Hair Gaming. Put up a video today, which is I guess 3 days late now. 3 days late now, but it is up. It's on the Activision Blizzard stuff. If you want even more fucking takes on that thing, there are so many takes out there right now. But that's up. But yeah, that's up.
Fantastic. And of course, you can always find me here at Point in Progress. You can also find me at the MC University, which I co-host here with Sly. The last episode, we're back. It was an extra credit episode. It was the finale of Hawkeye. It was a special guest with Eric Ginn from Marvel Mondays over there at the Penultimate Conquest. So they know what's up. Hey, look who's in the podcast. Hey, everyone. High five. Hey.
Come over here. Say something. Come here.
Shout out to who?
No? That beautiful mane.
Okay, there we go. Bam.
All right, awesome.
He says, I didn't know you're recording something and is now walking away. And he says, bye.
Bye.
Of course, watches our show every week. You can also find me at twitch.tv/thatMarioRivera, where I'm doing a lot more streams. Right now, I'm streaming Hitman 3, and I love this game. I love this game so much. It is so good. Oh, so such a delight. But of course, you can find us. I forgot how to end the show. It's been so long. Real quick, please. I said at the top of the show, I'm saying at the end. Follow us on all our social medias because we're trying our best to do better in 2022. TikTok at Penultimate Conquest at
nice.
Point
Nice.
Progress.
You traitor. Cut his
Point
mic.
Progress.
Where's the contract, Mario? Where's the contract?
Yeah.
Instagram. Point in Progress. See, they should never have, put P in front of their name.
Okay, so Mario, I'm gonna have to write you up a little bit here.
Yeah. Can I'd like to write a formal complaint against Harv.
Till next time.
Harv against Mario.
Progress has been made.